We start off with a story from the UK, where President Uhuru Kenyatta on Tuesday held talks with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, focused on scaling up the robust ties between Kenya and the United Kingdom. At the meeting held at the PM's office on the 10 Downing Street in London, the two leaders discussed about areas of mutual interest between the two countries.
President Uhuru Kenyatta on Tuesday held talks with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. The president was accompanied to the meeting by Cabinet Secretaries Ukur Yatani, Monica Juma and Adan Mohammed, as well as High Commissioners to the United Kingdom Ambassador. The President and the Prime Minister discussed partnership between the two countries in green technology investments, an area the United Kingdom has made significant milestones. On security, President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Prime Minister agreed that Kenya and the UK should cooperate more in the fight against terrorism. Prime Minister Johnson said the British military training outpost in Nanyuki will continue to train Kenyan officers as a way of bolstering the military partnership between the two countries. President Kenyatta and the British Prime Minister also discussed the effects of travel advisories, and the Prime Minister assured that they will be abolished as they have a negative effect of the economy.
Welcome, President Kenyatta. Thank you. Yeah, and a great conference soon. It was like, I mean, summit was great. Yes, you made a lot of progress. Oh, yeah. And I think that's the first time as Africans, this kind of exchange in the United Kingdom. It's by time.
The two leaders also agreed to join forces in the provision of affordable houses in Kenya, one of the key pillars of the Big Four agenda. Citing some of the old housing estate constructed in Nairobi's Eastleigh in partnership with the British government, President Kenyatta said United Kingdoms. Mary Vuguza, GBS Morning Extra.
Well, moving on, back home now, the Mahanaim College has come of age, and this time as it prepares to commence the construction of a new state-of-the-art complex to allow students access to better facilities. The groundbreaking ceremony of the institution that has grown from leaps and bounds was graced by the founder of the organization, Reverend Dr. Ok Soo Park from South Korea. The event was attended by some 2,000 participants. Let's listen in. It was a day full of hope and optimism for the nearly 2,000 people who congregated at the Mahanaim College in Kasarani to witness the groundbreaking ceremony of a new building for the college. The icing of the cake was the presence of the founder, Reverend Dr. Ok Soo Park, who is also the founder of the International Youth Fellowship, a youth organization that teaches mind education to youth around the world. Attendees were treated to some fine classical music by the internationally renowned Gracious Choir.
Quel vermiglio d'onesco color, non più avrai quei pennacchini, quel cappello, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante.
The principal of Mahanaim College, Dr. Ha Tae-hyun, opened with a brief history of the college.
The college started in 2007 as International Youth Fellowship Academy, training on short courses like computer applications, foreign languages, and even piano and taekwondo. In 2008, we received temporary registration, and in 2011, we finally received permanent accreditation by the Kenyan government.
행복한 사람은
Happy people,
불행한 조건이 있지만 불행할 줄 모르는 사람이라고 합니다.
even though there are miserable situations, he doesn't know how to be
또
miserable.
반대로 불행한 사람은
On the other hand, miserable people,
행복한 조건이 있는데 행복할 줄 모르는 사람이라 있어요.
they are people, even though they have happy conditions, they don't know how to be happy.
오늘 우리는 하나님께 영광을 돌리고
Today we give glory to
또
God
목사님께도 감사드리고
and we give thanks to Pastor
또 이 자리에 참석하신 모든 여러분들에게도 감사를
and we give
드립니다.
thanks to all of you who are here
이제
also.
우리는 잘 보지 못하지만
And even though we cannot
이제
see
앞으로
well,
이 학교가
now for in the future
이
this school
아프리카의 놀라운 학교가 될
will
거라고
become an
믿습니다.
amazing school in Africa.
주님께 영광 돌립니다.
And I give glory to God.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
The keynote address was delivered by Dr. Reverend Ok-Soo Park, who expressed his vision for the college.
이제 여기에 곧바로 건물의 신축을 시작하겠습니다.
And we will soon build a building here and get it started.
그래서 또 하나 둘 여러 개를 지어서
And one by one we will build many.
아주 전세 가장 유명한 대학교를 만듭니다.
And we'll make it to the most famous university in the world.
끝으로
And finally,
하나님 우리를 들어 일하시는 일에 대해서 하나님께 감사드립니다.
I give thanks to God who uses us to do His work.
이를 통해 하나님의 뜻을 이루시고
And through this, may the will of God be fulfilled.
하나님의 영광을 받으시게 되기를 바랍니다.
And I hope that God will be glorified.
그럼 학교에서 주신 형제자매 모두에게도 감사합니다.
I thank all the brothers and sisters who labored so much for the school.
여러분 대단히 감사합니다.
Thank you very much.
1, 2, and 3.
Reverend Park led the tape cutting and the groundbreaking ceremony that kicks off the construction of the 4-story building that will house an amphitheater and lecture halls for the college students, including a library facility. The construction is expected to complete by end of this year. Well, indeed, hopeful there. A bright future also for our young people and also for tertiary education in Kenya. Speaking about education, about more than 50 illegal immigrants were arrested at a college in Eastleigh, Nairobi, in a police operation targeting unregistered institutions. The foreigners, who were students at a staff at the Allison Community College, are from Somalia, with one Ugandan among them.
More than 50 illegal immigrants were arrested on Tuesday at a college in Eastleigh. The college was also closed as it is not registered by the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority, TVETA. TVETA Director General Kiprikuri Langat said the raid, carried out by the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit, ATPU, was prompted by intelligence reports on illegal activities and possible breaches of security at 2 colleges in Eastleigh. Atlas College was also raided, but it was found to be validly registered. Most of the foreigners did not have identification documents, while some had expired visas and passports. Others had fake documents, Kenya birth certificate and national identity card waiting slips. The Ugandan man, Mr. Mubakari Wedeheye, is indicated as a female on his ID. An officer attached to the ATPU said the suspect will be taken to the unit headquarters in Upper Hill. They will be later be processed in court for repatriation. He also said that of concern is the teaching of Kiswahili and English, the most popular courses at the college that are taught from beginner to advanced levels.
Now, moving on from that, we cross over to the borders of Ethiopia, where at least 10 people were killed and scores others injured when a sitting area collapsed during a major Orthodox Christian celebration in Ethiopia, with fears that the death toll could rise.
The accident at the Orthodox Christian celebration in Ethiopia occurred in Gondar, a historic city in the country's north, where every year more than 1 million people gather for the Epiphany festivities known as Timkat. Hundreds have been sitting on a tired wooden structure for hours when it collapsed. Witnesses fleeing the scene said an untold number were crushed, suggesting the casualty count could rise. The injured were suffering from fractures and internal bleeding. Emergency vehicles struggled to part the crowd to enter the site and take the victims to the hospital. Once the site was cleared, however, the festival resumed and lasted until mid-morning the following day. Ethiopia is famous for its Orthodox Christian festival, which draws worshippers and secular tourists, which are central to its tourism industry. Gondar is a popular stop for the tourists traveling Ethiopia's northern circuit to see the storied rock-hewn churches of Lalibela and the Ark of Covenant that sits covered in axiom, which Ethiopians have long claimed is the original brought from Jerusalem by King Solomon 3,000 years ago. Wawira Doreen, GBS Morning Extra.
Now we go down to the south, where Zimbabwean main opposition leader Nelson Chamisa has vowed to stage a peaceful protest against President Emmerson Mnangagwa, whose government, he says, has precipitated the national economic state.
Nelson Chamisa, Zimbabwe's main opposition leader, said he will roll out anti-government street protests this year, declaring that the collapsing economy will improve only if political issues, including a long-disputed election, are resolved. Nelson Chamisa told hundreds of Movement for Democratic Change Party supporters in the capital, Harare, that he will use the peaceful protest to push for a transitional authority to run the Southern African nation until credible elections are held. Zimbabwe held largely peaceful elections in 2018 in a transition from former leader Robert Mugabe's nearly 4-decade rule. But days later, the military shot several people in Harare as opposition supporters protested a delay in releasing results. Mr. Chamisa has refused to recognize President Mnangagwa's presidency following disputed elections in 2018. He says he is prepared to enter into talks to agree on political and electoral reform to guarantee free and fair elections in 2023. Reporting for GBS Morning Extra, I am Wawira Doreen.
Now we cross over to Nigeria. In an incident that happened a few days ago, 4 people were killed and several shops and vehicles burnt after thieves breached a fuel pipeline in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial hub, causing an explosion, emergency services said on Monday. The incident, which happened on Sunday evening in the Abule Egba area, is the latest in a long string of such incidents. Acting zonal coordinator of the National Emergency Management Agency told the AFP that they had removed bodies of 2 men, a woman and her child, from the scene of the fire at around 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, crossing over to the States, U.S. President Donald Trump and his Vice President Mike Pence made an unscheduled trip to the Martin Luther King Memorial on the National Mall in recognition of the holiday honoring the civil rights icon. The pair was greeted by a mix of boos and cheers as they arrived at the memorial in the National Mall in Washington, D.C. on Monday afternoon, hours before Trump was to depart for Davos, Switzerland, to participate in the World Economic Forum. Both Trump and Pence stood at the base of the 30-feet-tall stone statue of Martin Luther King Jr. for a minute of silence, with their heads bowed before heading back to the motorcade, smiling and waving to onlookers, some of whom booed while others chanted USA. Well, that's all we had prepared for you this morning. Let's now take a quick breather. We'll be right back with more.